Welcome back. Now, Sary, there has been many successful programs that Syair has hosted in order to raise fund for the organization, for the foundation. There's charity photo hunting that's been going on for years. You have the film festival as well. There's Football for Hope, which I'm sure UD is able to garner his ecosystem. The book BP 20, is that part?
Yes,
that's also part
that's
of the...
also both books.
And how has the public responded to this? And while you're at that, maybe you can share with us as well the participation in the last 10 years, almost 10 years, in Syair growing up as part of the community.
Right. Yeah. What you've mentioned, there's some, or our anchor fundraising. We did it in that way because it's a creative ways to get the community to be involved. For instance, if it's the photo charity hunting, it's giving a community a chance to take pictures, to maybe some access to people that they couldn't in the past, something like, for instance, if it's any celebrity and stuff who've been supporting us. But before they do and go on do their photo shots, we give them they spend about an hour with the team where we educate them about the growth of HIV and what it is. So that's one way of doing it.
That's how you engage the
public. That's how we engage with the community through the festival film. That's another interesting one, because out of that we have an international participants as well as a local, where the result of those short film documentary, we use that for our campaigning as well.
Yeah. Okay. So you get the rights.
Yeah, we get the rights to all that. They sign a form, and the winner wins money, and we have a team of actors or producers in Indonesia that helps with the selection. So so that way we find that we are contributing back to the community as well from where we are, and the community is involving as well, because then they have to research about what is HIV and how can they communicate it within their own region, in their own style. So that's another way of us campaigning and educating the community. And if the last 10 years, obviously, with every year there's an increase of people participating, so we know that it works, and they're interested to at the same time harness their talent, but with theme that they can also help increase or prevent the HIV spread in Indonesia.
And now these programs that you have is not only to raise fund, but ultimately to raise awareness.
Yes.
And how do you feel the awareness has been around your community?
Yeah.
And what are your notes about that? How has it grown significantly?
Right.
Or I'm sure there's this much more work to be done, not just by Syair, but any other foundation as well.
No.
So
That's
your
right.
take on that?
We're not fighting it on our own. We have other foundations as well that we are affiliated with, which is great, and the more the better. Has it from the statistic that I found from the Ministry of Health, there is a decrease in the death of AIDS, but that doesn't mean there is still a high percentage of people who don't really know the transfusion, how they get HIV. They still think it's something that they should be very apprehensive about. Most people who are educated, who have access to internet and they understand that that's not the case, but I don't think many people from the region that really knows what it's all about. I mean, even take in the case in Solo, there is a community of orphan who lives in this community, had the foundation there, but when the people in the community found out that these kids are HIV positive, they literally tell them to get out of the community, go somewhere else. Then they can't stay there
because they're afraid they might get infected just by interacting with them.
So that it's an unresolved issue still, and so there's an awareness, and they know, but it's just become a head knowledge. But it's not something that they actually. That head knowledge we can practice.
Now, it seems that your stakeholders, I mean, most of it understand how this works. Now, have you been getting support from the government, the Ministry of Education, Health, Women Empowerment, a Komnas HAM for children's protection? How are you working with them, or how are they giving you the necessary support, because you can't, like you say, you can't do it alone. You need government support to actually spread and disseminate the education in Indonesia.
I mean, I won't say that the Department of, I don't think we've worked with the Department of Health. We have worked with the Department of Education. But again, this is what we're trying to communicate, that the awareness of HIV campaign, it shouldn't be just done on the 1st of December. So it's always a seasonal thing, then, you know, then people approach us. But it should be a daily thing. Should be done on a daily basis. Like, exactly, right?
Part of our lives.
Yeah, right. And we would like to have more support from the government. I remember last year one of the foundation did a Change.org campaign because there was a case where a student was kicked out of school. This is in Jakarta, and at the time the former Minister of Education was asked, what are you going to do about it? And that viral went around, but there's no follow-up. You know, things like that. Have we done our part to make a movement to not just talk about it, but we are doing something about it? But we can't do it without the government putting that in the education system, talking to, you know, to the students what it's all about, or even having little like flyer. I think the more we make it like it's, you know, it's nothing. If we see it all the time, then people are like, okay, it's a nothing. I want to make HIV a thing of the past. You know, that, well, don't be afraid of it, but we do need to take care, because it's still there. We don't have a, you know,
address it,
we don't have a cure for it just yet. But we've made our, I mean, a lot of the foundation as well, we make our own initiative to go to schools. Some you know, private school, or sorry, no, public school have allowed us to visit, but there's always a, you know, you have to be careful how to speak. There's always,
because they're unsure of how they should.
Then if you talk about sex, it's like as if we're trying to promote that, but it's not, because the highest number of, you know, people infected with HIV are the productive age. And so how else do they get it? And right now, through sexual behavior, it's still amongst the highest. So the transmission, So we would like more in the advocating. If there are children being discriminated, they can't go to school, or they get kicked out of a community, because there are laws that do protect them. But unfortunately, especially in the case of private school, they would listen more to the parents who are afraid that their kids get, you know, infected. While public school, where I don't think we should have any case at all, because there's a law that protects the kids in, you know, to go to school socially. There shouldn't be homeschool just because, you know, people are afraid, because these kids are victims. You know, this is what we try to do in our foundation, that we actually hug them and cuddle, and it's just, you know, that's what we've been doing for the last 8 years, and only so that one day they feel rejected by the society, that they know there's a community of people that, well, they weren't afraid, so I'm okay, you know.
So kill the stigma, not the hope. Now, if you like to find out more about Syair Untuk Sahabat Foundation, you can go to Syair, that's SYAIR.org. Now, when we come back, we'll talk to the Mighty Warriors Bootcamp, who's going to work with Syair this coming weekend to raise funds. More excitement on the perspective when we come back.